Goel is the Principal Product Manager Lead in the Azure Speech Services. Her team works on building Indian language speech models. She's passionate about AI areas, especially high on language expansion impact for markets like India. She has developed an expertise in creating products that showcase proactive machine-learned intelligence based on large volumes of user data and analytics. She has developed experiences for Bing, Microsoft Virtual Agent, Cortana, that is Cortana, and Technical Support Bot. She has a total experience of over 15 years. Ma'am, I would like you to address the audience. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Good morning, everyone. And my name is Shaily Goel, and I lead the product management group in the Azure Cognitive Services. And I am super excited to be here. So talking about, so my presentation will be more focusing on what are the various possibilities and the various use cases we are seeing across the world as well as in India, and how the Indian languages will play a role out there. So why are we talking about AI now? Okay, so AI is not new. AI is always used to augment the human capabilities. We have seen, for example, it started with the first calculator, which we have seen, where we could do better than humans. Then there came the electronic era, and then came the computer era, which is the graphical user interface. And then why we are talking about AI now? Okay, so all these innovations have linearly grown, but over the years, we have seen that AI is exponentially growing. The innovations are exponentially growing. And there are three things which are contributing to this exponential growth. The first one is the huge computing power, which is available now on the cloud. So as the cloud is growing, we have seen that because we have a lot of computing power now available in the cloud, ideally you can run anything anywhere. So that is one of the reasons that AI is exponentially growing. The second is the powerful algorithms, and these are the AI, complex AI algorithms. When I say complex AI algorithms, I'm referring to particularly deep learning and the neural networks. And the third is the big data. Now we have this a huge amount of data which is required to train these algorithms. With a huge sets of data, we are able to now see that the AI is exponentially growing. So now we know where we are with respect to AI, but how are businesses going to transform with respect to AI? So if I look at a Uber level, AI, there are three major use cases which emerge, or I'll say three categories which emerge. The first is where we are talking about conversational or digital agents. In future, more and more customer interactions will take place via these agents. The bots will become a crucial part of the customer engagement. Basically, with the help of bots, you get the leverage that the customers can connect to the brand anytime in their own language. And that helps to build the customer loyalty and a competitive edge for the enterprises. The second is what we are seeing is intelligent apps. More and more developers are now infusing the power of AI into their apps, making the world-class apps for their future. And the third is basically every businesses uses using AI to transform their core processes. They want to be more smarter, more agile, and they want to get to the market faster. So they are using AI to automate these workflows. So basically, there are three categories of things for which people or businesses are using AI for. Now let's look at the India market. Like what trends we see in the India markets. So AI again in India is also growing exponentially. As per the Accenture report, which has been published, AI has a potential to add $197.5 billion to the India economy by 2035, which is quite huge. Secondly, India is one among the top companies which is getting digitized, which has more mobile savvy. We see almost like 9 out of 10 people using mobiles. And these are those kind of a people who, there is a huge amount of population among these users who cannot read and write. For them, voice is an important conversational media. So there will be a high focus in order to make sure our applications are enabled with respect to the voice. And that's the reason government is really pushing hard, okay, to do this barrier free communications. And hence the initiative like NLTM, National Language Translation Mission, is one step towards it. We also see there is, as India is growing, the startup world is growing. So startups who have focus on the regional languages or the regional content, they are getting heavily funded. So voice, video and vernacular will play an important role in shaping the AI, in shaping India with respect to AI and digitization. Now let's talk about some of the use cases, the real world applications, which we see very heavily in India. The first one is the automation of the call center. Okay, and I'll be talking in depth about this use case, but we see more and more enterprises wants to automate their call centers. They want to get the insights about from the conversation which customers are having across the various channels with the enterprises. And so scenarios like IVR bots are getting very popular. Second is wherein we see that as banks or the various other insurance companies are moving towards KYC verification, they want to automate this workload end to end so that the user can kind of, once the user can verify it automatically, automatic verification end to end can happen. The third is wherein doctors wants to have focused conversations with the patients, reducing the time, okay, which is required to write the medical transcripts. So there is a huge focus on how can we get, okay, these medical or a meeting transcripts, okay, automatically generated as the user is typing. The next, then there is a market of, as I said, okay, the voice conversation or the speech enabled bots or citizen bots or enterprise bots. So they are becoming really, really popular. Then there is, like, as I said again, okay, that the users in India have voice as an important media. So the voice search across, especially across the e-commerce domain, is getting very popular. The smart devices, for example, you must have seen like Alexa, Geo, okay, they have come up with the smart remote controls, which you can enable. Now you can say, play this movie or open this app and things like this on your smart devices. And then we have the use cases like video translation, where you can have the video content available across all the languages. So we can increase the reach of this content worldwide, correct? And then in the entertainment world, there's a high focus on auto generating these captions and subtitles for the movie. So you can watch, think of that, you can watch a Marathi movie with the Hindi subtitles on. So these are some of the use cases which we are seeing really getting popular in India market, for which people are using various AI technologies. And what are these AI technologies? These are some of the few AI technologies which are being used across the various applications. The vision, the speech, translation, language, and bots, they are becoming really popular. They are like the base of all the applications which are there. So people are building, or enterprises are building multiple solutions using these services to serve to the customers. Now going a little bit deep into the call center. So now India is a land of offshore centers. India is a land where there is a lot of BPO services are there. More and more of these enterprises are looking to migrate to the cloud content center. And the COVID has taught us how to be really effective in this virtual world. There are interactions happening across the various channels. For example, on the email, on the social media, on telephone. And what these enterprises need is they are looking forward, how can we get the insights from the various conversation which is happening across the various channels. So they are talking about omni-channel. And then they also wanted to automate, how can they evaluate, or how can they keep an eye on the various agent KPIs? How can they improve the quality of the conversation which is happening? So there is a need of improving the first touch. So they are talking about IVR bots, which can front end the customer conversations and then tell the user, okay, so this way they can improve their first touch as soon as the IVR bots. And these bots are speech enabled. They are more intuitive. They are like, just like as humans are talking. So The next is they are also looking for how can the bots assist the agents into the various conversations so that the agents can cross-sell and upsell the various products. So these are some of the use cases where for which they are looking forward for automating the call center, and the services which are being used out here is like speech, language, translation, bots. Again, they form the base, and on top of which there are multiple call center solutions which are getting built. So just to give you a flavor of the call centers, how the call comes into the call center and what kind of insights which can be derived out of it, let me do a kind of a demo which is built in-house. So let me share my. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can still see.
You can see my Edge browser. You can see the browser.
No, the presentation. Okay.
Let me 1 minute.
You might need to stop sharing and reshare the screen.
Yeah, I'm doing that now. Can you see now?
Yes.
You can see the browser, correct? You can see the Microsoft Speech Analytics demo.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to play the call. On the left-hand side, you can see that as the call goes in, okay, you will see the transcript, okay, that it is automatically, the call is getting transcribed. We are able to understand whether the agent is speaking or whether the customer is speaking. As the call goes in the word cloud section, you will see the important key terms automatically being extracted. In the agent QA, you will see that, okay, it can exactly tells that whether the agent greeted the customer, that some of the quality checks which are there on the agent, it is automatically being automated. And in the last, you will see how the emotions being tracked. Okay, so let me play that sound. Can you hear the sound?
Yes, yes, loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay, great.
मेरा एक रिटर्न ऑर्डर था, ठीक है, नेट का, तो वो के साथ शेड्यूल किया हुआ था 24 तारीख को मार्च के, ठीक है ना, एक्चुअली 23 तारीख को किया हुआ था, 24 तारीख को कॉल आया था, तो 24 तारीख को मेरा ऑफिस बंद था, ठीक है, तो फिर 24 तारीख को मैंने रिशेड्यूल किया था, वो 27 मार्च का आखिरी डेट था। तो अब तक ना मुझे कोई कॉल आया, ना मेरा आइटम पिकअप हुआ।
ठीक है, मैं चेक कर रही हूँ राजू जी, माफी चाहेंगे इनकन्वीनियंस के लिए।
So you can see the call which is coming in. Okay, in this call, this is like a Hindi call in which the customer is talking to an agent. Okay, you will see also a lot of English and Hindi words being mixed together because this is very natural in India that we tend to mix a lot between our mother tongue and English, and so that's why the word like actually or call, these are like English words, but these are very commonly being used into our day-to-day conversations. You will see you will see a transcript coming in wherein you can see who is talking what, and it is automatically being kind of, once you have this text, now think of that, you can build a lot of solutions on top of it. So similarly, one of the solutions which has been built is word cloud, where you can extract the important, like for example, 24 Tarik is very, very important key term from this conversation perspective. You can exactly tell at what line the agent greeted the customer, like Namaskar PI, mein aapka swagat hai. PI, so basically we have removed all the PI information from the call, and you can see that it exactly tells you on which line the agent kind of greeted the customer or not. So these are some of the important KIs from an enterprise perspective to understand the quality in which the agent is conversing with their customers. And then we have sentiments. Okay, as the call goes in, it is automatically tracking the sentiments of the customer. So as soon as the customer say na to mera abhi tak call aaya, na mera item pickup hua, it understands that the customer is really not happy with the product or the services, and hence it shows you the dip. Okay, so there is a sentiment analysis like going in onto this real call. So these are some of the things which call centers are looking forward to automate it up end to end. And apart from this, these are called as analytics. And apart from this, the scenarios like IVR bots, agent assist, which are becoming really, really popular for the call centers. So now let me go back onto the The next one is the OCR and the form recognizer. So basically, if you really see at an operational level, manual data entry is a very, very time consuming process. And the robotic process automation makes it possible to streamline this process. So think of that any manufacturing company must be receiving multiple reports in multiple formats on a daily basis. Now, using an RPA platform, the company could actually automatically extract the text from these reports. They can extract the important key value pairs, and that helps to automate the complete data entry. So in that regard, Azure do provide the services like form recognizer or OCR, okay, which can be used to extract the information from the various documents. And this is an important step towards digitization of India. So let me also show you some of the flavor. Let me give you the flavor of some of these use cases which are very popular in India. So I'm just sharing my. You can see the form recognizer. I hope you can see the form recognizer demo.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm now going to upload, okay, a dummy passport. And then you can see how from the passport, okay, it can automatically extract the key value pairs. So this is the dummy passport which I am uploaded. It is doing right now the analysis, okay, the service is running at the background in the real time, and you can see, sorry, I have to change it to ID. Yeah, so you can see the service is running in the background. It extracted all the key value purpose. So for example, it extracted the country region as INT. It extracted the date of birth is 1973, 1101. It extracted the date of expiration. Then it extracted the first name of the customer, which is Aishwarya. Okay, it extracted the last name. Okay, it extracted the nationality. So all these key information has been extracted via the form recognizer because it understands the whole setup. So you can think of how can AI can be used in order to digitize these various forms, IDs, reports, invoices, etc. So let me do one more thing. Okay, so this is an ID. This is like passport is an important key. Let me also do some kind of an invoice, okay, which can be done. Okay, so this is actually the bill which we usually receive. Okay, invoice which we receive from Indian Oil. Okay, and I'm just changing it up. Okay, I'm just running the analysis. And think of that. This is the paper which this is actually the bill which I received, and I just used it that. So think of that. Now, as soon as from the paper bill, okay, it can extract, the OCR can extract the key information like the customer name. It can extract the invoice date. It can extract the invoice ID, the total of it, so it can extract the total tax paid or the vendor address and everything. It can extract it up. So that is the power of AI which we are talking about. Okay, so like now think of that, any form or any ID or any receipt, any invoice, you can now digitize it up using these technologies. So another is the form recognizer. Okay, so like I usually get asked this question, how about Hindi? You have seen in English how it is extracted, but Hindi, Marathi, for example, is on the way. So I'm just giving you a flavor of it, how it looks like in this thing. As soon as you can see that all these yellows are actually extracted by the form recognizer. Okay, so you can see all these information is automatically being extracted. So it is coming on the way even for the Indian languages too. Now, what is Microsoft doing, okay, with respect to these services? Now, Microsoft is actually, we are far ahead in accelerating this AI innovations. Talk about the vision, talk about speech, talk about translation, talk about language understanding. Okay, in all these areas, Microsoft AI is actually the first one to reach to the human parity. On Azure, we have this Azure Cognitive Service Suite, okay, which is the most comprehensive pre-trained models. And not only these models are available as pre-trained, but also all these services are also available as customized. You can actually customize the models on customers' data. which makes these models provide more and more accuracy for the customer use cases. They are available like on the cloud as well as for the on-premises deployment. So if you look at this Azure Cognitive Services suite, there are 5 pillars to it, which is speech, vision, language, decision, and web search. And under each pillar, you have multiple services which are available. So for example, under speech, we have speech to text, text to speech. We have even custom speech, which I was talking about. How can you customize these models to provide better accuracy for the customer data? And the speaker identification, which is getting more and more popular, like facial recognition, speaker identification, which is like basically biometric with respect to your voice. Especially it is being used for authentication purposes, okay, to avoid frauds in the online world. Similarly, under vision, you will see like I already demonstrated the power of form recognizer or OCR, or you can see facial recognition where you can recognize the various faces or recognize various objects under computer vision. Similarly, you have language, where in language you have like you can identify the various patterns from the text. Okay, like for example, text analytics are there, translation is there, or you can think of the language understanding model, which we call it as LUIS, is there. And similarly, we have web search and decision trees. So this is like in nutshell, these are like 5 pillars of the cognitive services, and under each pillars we have multiple services. Now, let's talking about what is available for India market. So for an India market today, in Azure, we have like 6 speech-to-text models available, which we have for Indian English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Gujarati, Marathi, and same for text-to-speech. And all these models today are actually available for cloud as well as on-premises deployment too. Okay. And similarly, on the LUIS side, which are intent modeling, you wanted to understand the intent of the text. Okay, so there we have again the 6 languages supported. In translation, which is like, for example, you want to convert from Hindi to Bangla or Marathi to Gujarati or English to Hindi and things like this, we have like from an India perspective, we already support 11 Indian languages. Now, all these services, you have seen how diarization, we support diarization. For example, we can segregate the speakers from the call into the call itself. We provide like speaker recognition is another thing which has been supported. And one peculiar thing which is predominant there in India, which I already talked about, is mixing of this mother tongue and English language. For example, when you mix Hindi and English, you call it as Hinglish kind of a scenario. All these models actually has been trained on a large diversified set of data. For example, text to speech or neural network models. Okay, so and since it has been trained on a diversified set of data, it has been trained on this bilingual data where people mix a lot between their mother tongue, and so it automatically take care of those kind of a use cases. For example, if you are mixing Hindi and English, the Hindi models will automatically take care of those kind of things. So let me show you give you the flavor of some neural TTS which has been built. 1 minute. Let me share the sound also. Yeah, it is already shared. Okay, so I'm just playing.
अर्जेंटीना के स्टार फुटबॉलर लियोनेल मेस्सी ने बार्सिलोना के लिए 644वां गोल करके पेले का रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिया.
You can hear the sound?
Yes.
Okay, so now you can see in the neural TTS model, this is Hindi TTS model, which is text to speech model, which is neural, and you can see like the words like Argentina, record, all these are English word, or Barcelona, these are all foreign entities, but still it is able to pick it up and pronounce it up very, very nicely in the Hindi accent itself. So let me play something with respect to Tamil.
யாம் அறிந்த மொழிகளிலே தமிழ் மொழி போல் இனிதாவது எங்கும் காணோம்.
So you can see how the Tamil voice is speaking up for the various text which is given to it. And most of the time, these models have been used by various of the enterprises to send the customized notification or into the IVR bots kind of a scenarios, or even into the reading kind of a scenarios or teaching kind of a scenarios they are even using. Now, there is no more dependency on earlier. What used to happen is they need to hire the voice artist in order to record certain sentences, and as the IVR changes or as the notification changes, and these are all generic notification which used to, like, for example, you must have received, your credit card has been expired, please kind of renew it up. Now they can send it more customized. With the help of this technology, they can send more customized message or more personalized. Your credit card XYZ has been expired, the due date is ABC, okay, please renew it before XYZ date. So think of that. Now the more personalized information, you are sending it up to the user. So all these models have been used for that purposes. So,
ముఖ్యంగా పల్లెల్లో వాతావరణం చాలా ఆహ్లాదంగా ప్రశాంతంగా ఉంటుంది.
so you can see they are available in the male and female voices and various other things. So these are called as neural TTS models. Now, another thing which I have already talked about, that under the language pillar, we have services like text analytic, Q&A maker, which extracts the question and answer pairs from various FAQs, or text analytics is based to analyze the various patterns which are coming into the text, or the Lewis model, which is intent identification model, where you can actually identify when a user says my flight is at ABC, you can understand the user is talking about this particular flight, this particular timing, going from there to there and things like this. So that is called as intent identification. And you have translation services like text to text translation. Now, as I earlier also said, the bot is becoming really popular. So what people are doing is they are building up bots, infusing these cognitive services into the bots. So today, Microsoft, for example, provides Power Bots or Azure Bot framework, which takes away the daunting task which we have like dialogue management or intent identification. It takes away, like it abstract all that up and help you build up the bot within few seconds. So that is what the bot services are being used for. Now, I'll just kind of provide you. So there are various examples in which people have used the bots to build, for example, in COVID times, many of the health organizations or even the government like Punjab Kuwa chatbot, which has been built, by the government to address some of the frequent questions which are coming in COVID times. And these have been built within like hours kind of a thing through these technologies. For example, the Punjab Kuwa chatbot, it has been built, for example, to address many of the FAQ questions by the Punjab government in English, Hindi, and Punjabi too. So that is the power of bots, where you can like increase or help the user improve the first touch with the government organization or with your enterprises. The next two, building on the top of the digital agents, now they are becoming more and more conversational in nature. Now, as I said, these bots have been infused with the cognitive services like speech or a translation to provide more and more conversational experience to the user. Now, because of this conversational experience, the customers can connect to the enterprises or to the brand at any time in the day or in their own language, which is a great power for the customers, correct? And this helps the enterprises to increase the customer loyalty too. So for example, take a case of IBR bot. Now you can think of that if you're coming on to an insurance firm to understand what is your policy number details, or what all has been covered into this under this policy number. As soon as you call the particular customer support number, the bot will be there, which will just talk like a human to you in your own language, and that can actually give you a details within a second. Earlier, you could have a large amount of waiting time because of the availability of the agent. Now all this can be reduced, and the first touch of the customer to the enterprises can be made more and more smoother. And that's where, for example, Microsoft provide the direct line speech solution, which is an integration of the telephony line, bot, speech services, speech to text and text to speech services. So all these services forms the base to build up these conversational agents. As earlier also said, let's take a look how Microsoft approached the responsible AI. So within Microsoft, we have actually a team, which is, we call it as an internal AI ethics team, which is like backed by SELA. They set up the principles on which every AI services and solution has been built. Principles like fairness, reliability, inclusiveness, privacy, accountability, transparency, all this has been well defined within the Microsoft. And these principles then are followed by every designer, every developer, every PM, every researcher, while they are building up their own services or a platform for an AI. Every platform, every platform or every service which has been built has been renewed or has been reviewed completely with this AI ethic committee. We also have industry leading tools that helps to kind of take care of responsibility or all these principles automatically. Okay, so for example, the complexity of privacy is automatically being taken care because we have that there are inbuilt tools to address those up. That's all for my side. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for this interesting session. We have a few questions from the audience. The first one, how is Microsoft handling the issue of low resource languages in their speech and conversational systems?
Sure. So if you really, yes, that's a very good question, because if you look at the corpus of data, especially for Indian languages, we have a large amount of corpus of data available for Indian English. We have a little extent to Hindi also, but for other languages, as it is very, very low. So we have developed techniques which is called as transfer learning, okay, where we can transfer the knowledge from one language to another. Especially if you think of that, the acoustic qualities of the audio can be transferred from one language to another language easily. And then based on that, we also do a lot of data collection activities to collect the data from various crowdsources way and through various agencies, and also kind of from our customers too. So that helps us to kind of address those kind of languages, one with the technology, second with the help of collection of the data to build models which are highly accurate for the low language model, low data language model.
Next question. How good is the speech recognition system for the Telugu language?
So yes, so for the speech recognition, for example, few of our customers are using our Tamil and Telugu models, especially for the call center scenarios. And right now, this model is fairly doing really, really well. The second thing is that as Microsoft also provides the customization support. So the customers are also actually, it's very easy now. You can just go to the portal, kind of enter some of the dictionary of words which are very, very specific to your enterprises, your projects, and it automatically start recognizing those kind of things. So one, the public models itself are really good. The second is, if you need further improvement on the accuracy, there is a customization support which has been already provided, where any developer can build the custom models and improve the accuracy on their use cases, on their data.
My last question for you. The accents of the neural text-to-speech model seem to be very accurate across languages. Were there any important steps taken to ensure the good accents in the TTS model? Does linguistic analysis help this problem, or is it better to increase the data to include this accent-specific samples?
Again, that's a good question. So basically, after a lot of iterations and after a lot of experience, we have narrowed down saying that, okay, this is a minimalistic set of utterances which are required in order to build up any neural TTS models. We also have our own speech studios and things like this, where the recording takes place, and we take care of each and everything while making sure that every phoneme sound, every linguistic has been captured properly. However, there is also an effort, because we also provide the custom neural TTS, which means the brands can build up their own voice too. Okay, and we have an effort that how can we reduce the data set, okay, to a minimalistic level, so that enterprises, think of that, enterprises can build their own voice with just only 50 sentences with the same accuracy as or same linguistic accuracy. Everything remains the same. So there is a lot of innovation going in there within Microsoft, as well as, so what I'm trying to say to you is, for the current models, there is a huge focus, and our own speech studios and everything has helped us to reach to that level. Second is, not only this, from the data perspective, we are trying to see with the minimalistic amount of data, how can you still have, or the brands can themselves build their custom neural TTS models.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thanks a lot.